like it, he, walked out and said,
All right.
it was good, it was neat. It was neat to see.
I think it was 70, did we have 75% of the voters voted? No.
Something like
At
that.
like
least.
that, yeah.
Well, it
Guess
had
what?
been more than that, 'cause there's 1,263 voters?
Well,
And then add another 40 on top of it?
well, it was actually 1,300 registered voters, and then yes.
We have
Yes.
1,108. No.
Yeah.
All right,
1,108.
time is now 6:38, November 21st, for the select board meeting. We'll go ahead and open that as per usual, Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, and roll call, Dave Conway, Chair of the Select Board.
Marla Herrick,
Norman Eagley?
I went out of order.
Oh, I'm out of order. It's all good. All right, announcements. My only announcement is happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Enjoy this coming week. Stay safe while you do it, and have fun and be thankful. Are there any other announcements?
Well, it goes without saying, we will be closed Thanksgiving Day and Friday, the day after.
Any other announcements worthwhile from up at the safety building?
Nope.
All right.
Other than slow down when you're traveling back and forth, because we will be there.
And they'll have a little turkey.
Closed town offices does not mean closed police department. Any announcements from the board?
No.
All right, so that moves us on. Oh,
I would just like to say it was a pleasure to see everybody that got out and voted. We were just
Yes.
talking about that.
Really good.
And we thank you. And it was cool to see.
the record turnout was really good. All right, so that moves us on to our first appointment, which is planning board alternate. Therese, Finnemore?
Fenimore,
All right, close.
Fenimore,
So welcome.
thank you.
Normally, we would put you in the hot seat, but I don't think we've got enough public that it matters at this point.
No, you didn't ask me anything.
So I guess I'll start with, what makes you want to join the planning board?
It's just in it building and what's going on in communities and interested. I noticed there's some stuff going on behind my house in the mountain, which is a different town, it's Hopkinton, but still, it's nice to know what's going on.
They probably don't know where you live.
Who doesn't? The people that are developing, or?
No, these
Oh.
people. The
Oh,
select people. I do know
Dave
you.
doesn't, yeah, Dave, I live on Dustin Road, so that's the one that starts Warner, turns to Webster, and ends in Hopkinton. It's
Yep.
only 2 miles long, so.
Yeah. As our liaison over there, what are they working on right now?
We're talking about junkyards. I think that would be a pretty major subject. And as of last meeting, a couple of the board members are going to review some of the other towns' ordinances and come back to us, and we're gonna try to do something. And the major reason you want an ordinance is so that if we have to, do some, send out the guy that would go and say, hey, this isn't right, you've got too much junk here, without having the proper ordinance in place, we might end up with a lawyer bill if we end up trying to fight him. So, in this way, everybody knows the rules, and there's, I don't think we're trying to overregulate, we're just trying to make sure we're above board and everybody knows what's going on.
Sweet.
Is the way I took it, is what we
Yes,
talked about last.
And you can't enforce a rule that doesn't exist.
Right, that's right.
True.
So, the ordinance, will help that, hopefully going forward.
Yeah.
So, great to hear that you want to be a part of all of this, especially a topic that will, I'm sure, have plenty of discussion surrounding it. Any other
Probably.
questions for?
I don't have questions. I'm glad that we have volunteers to come and
Absolutely.
volunteer.
No, I
That's the
think-
best part.
I
Much
have one
appreciated.
question. Is it
Absolutely.
Teresa?
It is Teresa.
Okay, I put Teresa on the thing, so it's Teresa.
Ah,
Teresa.
Well, need to go out,
Right, the
go
other
back
place.
downstairs.
I actually live on the land I grew up on.
Really, how nice?
The zoning board allowed me to fix some setback requirements down to 10 when I knocked my mom's house down, put a new one in because the lot was so small.
Oh,
And the well and the septic were too close, way too close. So it needed a whole new site plan. New septic, obviously a new house and such. And that was in '06. So from there, I thought, well, when life settles down, I was gonna join the planning board in 2006. But my daughter got sick and I took in 3 of my grandkids and I had them for 6 years. So life didn't quite settle down like I thought it would.
well, it doesn't usually.
Yeah.
As someone that's been on the planning board for a while and
Yes.
up until recently, and then we have Marla there now, it's one of the most interesting boards to
It
be
is.
on, and also one of the most legally involved.
Mhm.
So,
And it's nice having somebody that's, grown up in the town.
mhm.
And they also have excellent members of that board,
Yes.
Yes,
you know.
it's generally a very well thought out and
Yes.
good group of people that know how to discuss things. So, all right.
Do we have to make a motion?
Yeah, this was gonna say.
Well, thank you for coming, and thank you for volunteering. I see that this is for alternate, is that
Yes.
correct? Okay.
Mhm.
And as the planning board person, go for it.
I make a motion to accept Mrs. Finnemore as an alternate.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Congratulations.
So if I could have you sign
Yes,
that.
And then she'd go downstairs.
And then, Teresa, if you could go, before you leave, see Michelle downstairs, and she
Oh,
can
okay.
swear you in.
Okay.
Yeah, she swears, she likes to swear at you.
Yeah.
No problem.
Oh, the purple.
Oh, you want this purple?
Here, I'll give you that while I go grab it.
You grew up with
Hopefully,
Tricia, didn't you?
Hopefully.
My
I
daughter-
did, she was a few years back,
Yeah, I thought you were, yeah,
Yeah, I'm
somehow you knew
59.
it.
in 59.
Because I think about you, can I deliver those newspapers?
I know you do. And I think of you every time I see your name on them, I'm like, she's still doing this.
35
That is
years,
pretty cool,
it's a job,
yeah,
so I'm ready to retire. You want to take it over?
no.
She didn't even like take a minute
I
to
know.
think. Yeah, that was a quick no. No decision making
is-
there.
When you go down to see Michelle, you're gonna sign it there, and then she's gonna swear at you.
Okay,
And you can swear back.
okay.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. That brings us to old
See
business.
you Thursday, yeah. Coming up someone time.
Thursday?
Yep, not this Thursday.
No, it's
Next
Oh,
week.
it's-
That's
it's
mine,
goodness,
yeah.
probably this Thursday. Have a good night,
You
guys.
too, see you later.
Good night.
And it's nice to see you guys around.
We see you all the time down there.
Yeah, I
We're on
like,
Dustin Road every day.
I like you guys being there.
That's
Thank you.
it. They do a good job.
They do.
Got a good department.
All right, that moves us on to budget presentations. Which
First,
budget are we looking at?
Why don't we have, you wanna go with your budget?
sure. Mine's quick and painless. It's not my budget, it's the planning
I know,
board's ZBA budget.
Okay. Planning and zoning.
And I talked to Craig about it. And Craig said, yeah, it looks reasonable. So, as you can see in this line, the lines are in red were the ones that were overspent this year. As you're well aware, we overspent the legal budget line this year by about $934. So that was due to a last minute emergency, I'll say, where we had to contact the lawyer for an in-person meeting. That was not expected. And as you'll see that the ZBA newspaper notices was also overspent this year because we've had a much higher than average ZBA caseload this year. So we had 7 cases, whereas the year before we only had 2. So there's a lot more than we normally do. And that is also offset by revenue. So every one of those people applied for an application that costs, which covers the newspaper ads. So that'll appear on the other side. Those are the only 2 lines that were overdrawn. So for next year, I am suggesting we add an extra 1,000 to the legal budget line. And that is also because the ZBA will also be working on a junkyard ordinance next year, and I expect that to have some impact. And also, the Central New Hampshire Planning Commission's dues come out of it, which I learned last year came out of it. I didn't know that before. But I've put that number down there and how much it'll be for next year. It'll be $2,439. So that'll still leave us $1,500 in our legal budget line for that. Workshops worked out really well. So we'll just leave it at the same amount. We are gonna have new members. As you've seen, we just got a new member. And there has also been expressed interest in going in the conference to the spring by several of the planning board members. Newspaper ads, I just explained. And ZBA supplies, we spent just about everything in that line except for a little bit. And if you count for inflation, you'd still have enough for next year. And then the last one is publications. So the books that we get each year is gonna be about $170 to replace those, and that would leave enough money if the board wanted to buy a few extra books, if they found something they wanted. And that's it. And the summary is that the budget's gonna be increased by about 32% if you approve it. Well,
Okay.
really good.
Any questions for them?
No, I mean, it's the planning board and the ZBA budget,
Right.
so,
Yeah.
you know, and there are some hot topics that are gonna be coming
Yeah,
up.
that's
so.
that was when I was there debating the legal
Yeah.
budget line, if we would need a little bit more in there because we're doing the junkyard ordinance. And I'm not sure, but I also wanted to err to the side of caution.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me to see legal go up. My question would be, since you mentioned that rather than just workshops, there were several people wanting to go to the conferences, is that actually enough in that line item to do that?
So I think the actual we spent, I'd have to look at the chart, I'm trying to remember, yeah, we spent all the way to, I think we only spent $70 in that whole line this year. So I think that's plenty. Because
Okay.
we still have the extra, I mean, if everybody wanted to go to the conference, the one that I go to is that $70.
Oh, okay, so
So
that does
if-
cover several people then?
That would
Okay.
cover several people.
That's good then.
And also for people who don't wanna go, they record them all now, so
No,
I
that's
can always
good.
send them the YouTube link if you can't make it.
Sweet.
Do we have to get those books every year? Do they change that much
Yeah,
every
they,
year?
well, they don't change that much, but they like to have the most up-to-date one.
Yeah, because the day we don't get one, that'll be the one that'll,
Yeah, and we have a nice
need-
little library of all the books going back
yeah,
downstairs.
okay.
And is that still one per every member and alternate, or is
They
it
all like
one
to have
per
their
year?
own books. I tried the one per year and getting it digitally, but they like to have the physical copy.
Okay.
You gave me an awful time 2 years ago about those books.
Yeah, it's because I still have 5 of those ones kicking around.
It's a fun book.
I
Craig
wanna
brings
know-
it in
I
and
wanna
rips
know
it
how
open,
it
said,
comes
did you
out."
read this? Yeah, nope.
I used to have the digital copy, and then it wasn't easily available anymore, so. All
So,
right.
do we make a motion to accept?
Well, right now, we're just accepting what everybody
Oh, that's right.
proposes,
You
and
said
then we
that.
go through it all. What is the next budget?
Okay, so I've got a few budgets to finish up. I had started, here, let me just pass that down to you. The last time I talked to you about executive, I had not put in the salary lines. And again, we need to do reviews and bring that to you in a
That's a
separate.
staff. Looks like the same stuff.
Yeah, the same stuff.
But
Oh,
I
there's
have put in,
Some
even though
staples
the
down here.
cost of living is much more than 6%, I put in 6% for the two salaries on this line, which is myself and Russ.
I think it's 8.7.
8.7,
I just
yeah.
was doing Fox One
Executive.
stuff, so, yeah, I read that statement a lot.
And the same is true in the financial administrator, the next, financial administration budget.
How come insurance hasn't gone down?
And then
Yeah,
insurance I
right.
did not have last time, so that is,
It's only
those are the
3.81%,
figures now.
that's good.
Sure, it's never goes down. Jeez.
I also hadn't done the personnel administration because I was waiting for salaries.
There's zero change on stipend for selectmen. I'm just kidding.
Well, that would be up to this board.
Most of the stipends are that,
I'm just
or
teasing.
have been.
Well,
I got in trouble last time when I said, well, none of the stipends should generally change unless they all change. Of course, I was arguing that none of them should change, but that didn't go over well.
You get in trouble.
Bosco and Selectmen.
I always get in trouble.
Gave themselves a raise this year.
Oh, did they?
Yep, they do it every year.
Really?
Yep.
What are they up to now?
I don't know, but they get the same, they gave themselves the same raises they gave all the employees. I think I'm pretty close to it anyway. I was just going through that today, my paper.
Pretty sure we're not here for the money.
That's right, that's exactly. We were 2 against 1 vote. One lost them, so they're getting a raise. I don't know, those pink colors are,
A lot of pink.
yeah.
That's why. Put it all in the wrong column. Hey, Joe.
You put it in the wrong color.
In the wrong column.
Oh, column.
I think it's pink anyway.
Like, why wasn't this changing the percentages? Right. I will, I guess, put that in afterwards then, for this. Were there any questions on this?
You know, everything's going up. Most of the time, I like the couple of green ones.
On the payroll services, that's going up 9%, right? For revenues. So, just because wages and everything are going up, meaning for the payroll service, am I saying that wrong?
That is the charge from the payroll service to do the payroll.
Right.
To do the quarterlies and
Yep.
do the W-2s.
2, and then you probably, yeah,
And
W-3.
And file the unemployment.
Yep.
Filing, as well as the retirement filing. Last year we had 4,400. And actually, some of these others may have changed since I had, now that I'm thinking about it, but we had 4,400, we've spent 4,073, and it usually costs a few hundred for each payroll.
Gee.
No, they write out the checks and all that stuff, or whatever they have to do.
They-
deposit it into a
They,
correct
they,
account.
they initiate the direct deposit. They also, if it's a check, we print it from the check stock for payroll.
Okay.
When the payroll comes in, we print the checks that, and most of, we don't have many checks to print.
Just automatically goes in the
Because
bank.
most people have it automatic, but I
Yeah.
have a check for you downstairs.
Okay.
The town went to a payroll service when the financial administrator's job went to part-time. Plan for that.
It's really not a lot of money, I suppose, for a year,
No, it's not.
because the
that bad.
liability is kind of all in them too.
Yeah. And I think they do a nice job. I mean, we've had a few growing pains, but now we're in a better spot.
accurate do we know for the retirement, for example, to be? 'Cause
Well,
it seems like it's a super even, like, I think this is a good estimate number.
Well, actually, it is, but when I did the math for the retirement, it came to 62,000, but here's how I was doing it. I added all the salaries that was related to retirement. So in other words, not everyone is, the retirement doesn't relate to everybody. The retirement rate changes June 30th. And the variable in that is the police overtime. So, I'd like to say I can hit that right on the head, but I really can't. Unless Steve doesn't have anyone to do
Oh, I
it.
understand.
Then I could. So it's Steve's fault. And as you see this year, I mean, we're in the hole with retirement.
So printing the town reports and tax maps, does that jump because we need new tax maps?
Yeah, we jumped it up a little bit, but the trouble with this year is that we paid for 2 years' worth of tax maps in this year, because I didn't
Okay.
send it to Bill in time to get it in last year.
Oh, okay.
So in January, we paid a bill that should have been in last year's budget.
Well, that's,
So it kinda makes us look bad this year. We added, one of the reasons why I'm thinking of tax maps, and this may be related or not, but we're doing a reval next year. And I thought there may be some sort of relationship between the two that we should be aware of.
well, I
We
mean,
actually did, I think we did very good price-wise for the town report printing.
Yeah. Well, I didn't think it was that I figured it was the tax maps.
It was the maps.
So, yeah, that's more hands-on stuff.
Right.
There's nothing, we need tax maps, so there's nothing much you can do about it.
Well, I think it's good that we're gonna have to review, but some years the town has not updated the tax maps.
Oh, really? And that's, the next year they do, it's probably
And
goes
so,
nuts.
and I understand it's expensive to do, but I think it's two ways. If you have to update 2 or 3 years worth of changes, you're gonna end up at the same place that you were if you had
Yeah.
just done it every year.
Yeah.
Plus the fact, you want as accurate information as you can get.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
helps everybody, really, every taxpayer, so,
And,
okay.
and of course, tax maps, that's not a legal document, so it's not, you can't take that verbatim.
Yeah.
That is a fact.
Yeah.
So, how is it that, with insurances and stuff going up, both workers' comp and short-term disability go down?
Well, that was the figure that was given to me from our insurance carriers. And I think it's our payroll, they do an audit on the payroll. I don't think the payroll has gone down significantly, but maybe their rate has changed, so.
Isn't
I
that,
can get a better answer for you, because I'm.
Well, there's probably,
that's
there's a
big
mod,
kind of big
there's a mod associated to that, probably.
Yeah,
You
there's
know,
a lot of variables.
Like you've been
that-
tripping people coming in, like Michelle gets to walk in, you don't trip her.
Well, we've been
Yeah.
thinking about it, but,
So, yeah, I mean, the
Yeah.
That only
workman's,
happens at the police, I mean,
you know, and
just
workman's,
once.
that's right. But workman's comp could definitely go down, because it's more rated with the NCCI rates, you know, the mods and what's safety and.
of course,
and,
we're in the insurance pool too. So, I mean, you know, if people tripping over in Boscawen.
Yeah, that could make it
affects
go
us,
up, that's
you know.
right, that's right,
Well,
yeah.
And we did just re-up our, thing for all of the workers,
You
comp safety,
did. You
et
did.
cetera, so we did just get past
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
so that can help, I
And
guess.
what was your other
and
question?
doesn't it make a difference if we have, if
It was the
people collect
disability and the
from?
workers' comp, which are, you know, very related, so. They're both down, well, the other insurances are up.
But that makes sense to me.
Yep,
No, I don't know much about
okay.
this.
Last year, the health insurance was subsidized a bit by, after COVID, there was so much excess, and
Oh, yeah.
and they've told us several times this year they didn't have any money, so here we are.
Yep, all right. Any other questions on this?
Oh,
We have, Michelle hadn't gotten her budget, so she's going to come to the next meeting. And then you have seen all the budgets. And so how would you like to proceed? Would you like me to just give you the updated, I know you have it, Dave, but I can do the updated budgets and pass that out to you and you could start making decisions? You want a work session for that?
I guess whatever the board wants. Obviously, I'll probably take this now that it's only the elections that's left. I'll probably take this and send it out to everybody, instead of just keeping a copy that Dana gets, until we're done the process.
I wouldn't mind a work
So-
session, just so that we can kind of
Go through the
go
whole
through
thing.
it, and it's not
Well, I
amongst.
think you'd need to have, yeah, I think I'd recommend having a work session so you can go through the budget and decide what you're comfortable with, and then call the department heads back. And
If we're not.
If you've
we're
got
not
a
happy
change.
with something,
Mhm.
yeah.
How about if we have it in the daytime?
Yeah, well, that's,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what we're talking
Okay.
about, have like a work session, either either afternoon, whatever
Well-
works for you guys, afternoon, whatever, morning. But then, and then we'll have our
And then we-
information together.
We also
Control
have
my
a
mouth.
very rough idea, and I know you have it, Dave, of how it affects the tax rate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we get that approximation through the spreadsheet now.
Yeah.
Of course, warrant articles and stuff will address that, and that should come from the CIP mainly for recommendations.
And they're meeting,
We're
what?
meeting the
December
first of
1st.
December.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Didn't they already have one too?
yes.
We didn't
Yeah.
have one, we're waiting for Emmett to come in, and then we should be ready to go.
So is it expected that after that meeting it will be ready, or will they need another meeting after that to finalize and send us?
I'm not sure.
Well, you're gonna be out of time, so it has to be ready. You're gonna be in so
You
much
know,
trouble.
I mean, only two of us have to be here to make the thing official, and it might not be me.
Yeah, well, it'd be better to have all three, so.
Yes, I say,
So-
yes, I say. the
So
same
could
thing.
could we kinda just tell them that,
Well, I think they're in.
They're
actually
pretty good shape, aren't they?
Good shape,
They've got,
just gonna-
they haven't heard from Emmett, they really need to talk with him. We've gotten some information on the Hopkinton transfer station that they needed
Good,
to
good.
have. So,
I know
that
they
should
were
be,
working on that, so.
yeah, that should be somewhat resolved by.
So we're kind of under control, basically.
I like to say we're
Yeah.
under control.
Okay, that's what I.
I think that's better than
Okay,
saying,
Dana.
oh my gosh, no,
That's
we're
right,
in
thank
complete
you.
chaos.
So,
My first 6 months here, we were in complete chaos.
I don't know, can't they?
how soon do you folks want to do the work session?
okay,
'Cause
so,
we currently don't have the clerk and elections item, but that would be
Next-
2 weeks from now.
Oh, that's
Which
right.
would be the first Monday and the 5th
of December,
of December.
okay?
And you said it was December 1st,
Is CIP,
is CIP.
and we will likely be ready by the end of that meeting.
So likely after that meeting, everything should be ready for us to go through the entire thing.
Yep,
Obviously, that's getting close for me. So I would also be completely fine with doing stuff ahead of time, and just knowing that we'll have to look at those as they come in. But that's entirely up to the board.
I mean,
Doesn't
really, we've
matter.
reviewed most things, and I think, I mean, your memory's better than mine, but is there one or something that's
There hasn't really
bothersome
been
to
any.
you?
I don't think we've
I
had
didn't-
any bothersome or
Right,
contentious
I-
ones,
I-
other than maybe discussing how the we were waiting for information to come out of the trust funds for what our least amount that we had spent on road work was, to consider incorporating that into the budget and splitting budget and the funds. That would really, I think, be the only discussion-y thing, unless there were a challenge on a particular budget.
So, I mean, either way, we can meet before and then I think what I'm thinking is, because there's nothing contingent, I didn't say the word right, and we're just waiting for a couple more, I would really like to try to do it, try to give them some kind of deadline that we're gonna meet, right after they get their stuff done.
And what's-
It wouldn't be, granted, the little bugger could come any day. I mean,
Sure,
but,
could come
Could be
tonight.
any moment.
that's right,
Yes.
so, but I guess I see it being more productive just to have it all in front of us and send it. I mean, what I mean by send it, meaning
Yeah,
review it.
refinalize
They
this, let's
refinalize
go.
it, make sure we're not missing anything, and is that, yeah, okay, you guys say, that's what my thoughts are.
So it should be after the CIP meeting, because they'll know, then they'll know.
Yeah,
what
so
they
if we're
wanna
waiting
do.
for everything, then it should be after our next meeting, which is the 5th.
Right, and maybe we can even have a meeting as soon as the next day or Wednesday or something like that.
Yeah, the same week. the
Yeah,
fifth-
that's
And
what
so
I
like
mean.
Tuesday the 6th.
Yeah, you
yeah,
could
that
do
would be
it, we could
okay.
send it and get together
Okay.
and just finalize everything.
What time is typically good for you?
I like it in the daytime, but it's up to you,
Yeah, well,
Before or
afternoon,
after lunch?
after lunch.
Okay. So,
Unless somebody makes us lunch, no.
Then you'd have to show up before lunch.
then you'd want it in the morning for waffles.
That's right. I'll eat waffles
It's
for
always
lunch
a
though.
possibility.
so,
You make her a waffle.
We'd
I
have to
will
know,
make
we'd
her
have to order
waffles.
enough shrimp
Or lobster.
or lobster.
Lobster and steak.
No, that's my favorite in the whole
So-
world.
tentatively 2 o'clock on the 6th?
Sounds great.
Okay.
No,
2 PM to 10 PM, got it.
Keep dreaming over there.
Well,
That depends
say
on-
I'm dreaming.
That depends on how good the food is that you're giving us. All right.
I'm sorry,
I'm just making sure that you're not telling us no, it doesn't.
No, I'm thinking, oh, I can do this later, but I know how
What
I
day is
am.
December 6th?
It's a Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Yeah, and the 5th is our first, where the department head select board
Yeah.
meeting.
Yes, and we'll probably get reminded that we'll be seeing each other the next day.
Yeah, really.
All right. That is good. As currently delivered to us, the looking at expenditures, executive, government buildings, emergency management, parks and rec, and debt would be down, and financial administration, personnel administration, planning and zoning, insurances, police, fire, code enforcement, health and welfare would all be up. With a currently net of, we would be slightly down on our overall budget.
That's good.
Which, we don't have the clerk's budget yet for elections, but this has been the large number of elections years, so.
Yeah, right.
We only have
That,
one next year.
that portion should go down, though of course there's a salary stipend in there as well typically. So, I don't know whether overall it'll go down or up, but I'm gonna guess it'll be closer to the election, so.
Which is a pretty good feeling.
Yeah, which
And we have. but
in
we-
general, I think we'll be safe to go down with our budget overall.
And do we have the school in there yet?
Well, this is just
This is
Oh.
town.
the town.
Okay.
Don't,
That
The
doesn't set our
school stuff
tax
is-
rate necessarily until.
Yeah,
the
we'll
school
talk about
card.
setting tax rates later.
Well, I know, I can't wait.
but aren't we, our safety building's gonna be paid off this year or next year?
That's done this time.
This year.
That's,
Okay.
that's the long-term debt
Yeah,
that
okay,
is less.
right, okay. I thought that
Which
was,
is-
that
which
was
is-
good news.
Which is the real reason why the budget's down.
Yeah, good.
So, all right, any other budgets stuff?
No.
Any other questions on budgets?
Nope.
All right, that moves us on to town-owned property, bid specs.
I wanted you to see that I have put out this bid for the, bid spec for the small piece of property up the road with the garage on it. I've also sent it to, the abutters. Dee, if I send it to you, I sent it to you by email and it kicked it back, but.
You know why?
I
'Cause
don't
get
think I actually have that in my packet.
I have
That's all
so
right.
much stuff that ends up on my email,
Junk?
cause I don't go
Did it say
down.
Dean and
everything.
it just went to junk?
You're saying you don't have it? All right, would I have?
Oh,
before-
sorry, it is, okay.
Before December 5th, would it be printed in the grapevine, or should I?
Yeah, I can do that. I'm hoping to get it out. I'm still working on Bosquen, but I should have that out in the next couple
Oh, you
of
can
days.
handle
okay.
it, you're the best.
Can you
I can do
keep
it.
that and just, that's it? Something like that?
Oh, you wanna put
You
this,
can
like the whole
paraphrase it.
sheet, or do you wanna give me a?
You want me to paraphrase it and then
No,
give you
no, no,
something?
let me read this first. I'll
Okay.
figure it out.
It's
the
because I
generic-
don't wanna go to the Concord Monitor and
No.
spend $350.
Yeah, I'll have it
You
out.
know?
I'll have it out.
Especially on something
Yeah,
like this.
Yeah.
I mean,
Where the ad in the newspaper would be worth more than the lot.
Right.
it is on the website.
Oh, it's not on the website yet, because they haven't approved it yet.
Oh, yes, I guess that's true. Well, it will be.
It will be on the website, once they approve it.
Will is.
I'm getting the cart before the horse.
Yep. All right. Just make sure that you notify the abutters as
I've
well
done
that it's
that.
there. Okay. I mean, it doesn't need to be an official thing, I don't think, but so that they're
Can
aware.
I keep this?
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
I also want to talk to you about
Do we need
10-7.
a formal approval on that, or just the consensus?
I think this
Just
is fine.
consensus.
Yeah.
The thumbs up works for me.
It kind of goes in tandem what you asked last time.
Yeah.
Pillsbury Lake has a lien, the water department, on the Cornhill Road property. Interestingly enough, we acquired that property at the beginning of September last year, and the lien went on September 23rd. However, it's a lien that's a total of $1,804.46. This is for unpaid water services and for charges assessed in the amount, I guess it's water charges. We do have additional money that we will be eventually sending to the court. I guess I would recommend that we pay the lien off since we have additional, I mean, we're kind of the same.
Yeah, that would make sense, because we pay the money off to them out of what would be the profit that we can't keep.
Exactly.
Yes, so
Exactly.
that's like, is that the easiest vote we're gonna have all night?
Is that even a vote?
I guess I'm just telling you so that when you see we've written a check to Pillsbury Lake Village District,
We know
we'll
why.
know what we did.
Or not?
Well,
Makes
don't
sense
worry,
to
if we
me.
forget, we'll ask you.
Okay.
Okay, done.
Well, and I'll try to remember, but the
I'm
Alzheimer's
sure
is
you
setting
will.
in.
No, I have faith in you, Dana.
All right.
Now for my
You and
favorite.
Russ, I got you guys.
Is there any other town-owned property? business?
Not tonight.
Now
All right.
my favorite one.
That moves us on to your favorite word.
Oh, yeah,
Ambulation.
yes.
This one got spicy real quick.
We received this letter from the town of Salisbury telling you that they're gonna perambulate with you on the Sunday after Thanksgiving.
Huh, I thought that was great notice.
And, you know, they did reference the law, which does say, The selectmen of the town first incorporated, which of course is Salisbury.
Oh,
Oh, it is?
Yes.
oh, look at
Because
that.
We're so young.
we would have been.
We're the baby
Part of
town.
Boston.
Part of Boston
That's
at the
right,
same
we're
time.
part of Boston,
Yeah.
So we're
right.
later than everybody.
That's right, I forgot. I should know that.
So, shall give the select board 10 days' notice before the perambulation,
Really?
which, and I had talked to you about perambulation last time, not realizing that they were very, very.
Have you
I was a
talked to
little
anybody up there to find out?
I wanted to talk to you first.
Well, he did try to give a phone call to the town.
Well, no, I
administrator,
just-
but
Yeah,
What
I tried
is-
to call the town administrator,
Because that seems a little
because
bit
I
like,
think that's, I find it a little,
they- Oh, when it gets spicier.
well,
When it gets
You know what I'm
spicier.
It
Yeah.
gets spicier because if
Yeah.
you don't go, the select board's guilty of a violation. Per the law, the select board that doesn't show up. I'm not sure what a violation is. Maybe Steve knows, but
well, I think that, you know, that would, I can't imagine going through all that pain for such a thing.
so what you're asking us is,
I guess I'm just asking for advice. I've never had this, you know, really happen before.
Usually for you
that-
for
that a
advice.
that a town just says, we're gonna perambulate, and this is when you're gonna do it.
I guess
Usually they talk, because I know I
Yeah.
just wrote something
Yeah.
for them about
I don't
doing it
understand.
in with somebody from Franklin, which was
Usually wonder if something like
on
that.
the
So,
council.
I'm wondering if you don't mind, I thought maybe I would see if we could negotiate another time, and maybe we could find someone to do it, to do the perambulation.
Normally, I would be happy to do it, but
You'll be busy.
being in the middle of the woods when I need a quick exit might
Yeah,
not
right.
go over well.
I could perambulate, but I have no idea what I'm doing out there.
Don't worry, they'd tell you.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, I
You
mean,
look for the markers, just
Yeah.
like if we're doing site plan
Right,
stuff
right,
in
I mean-
planning board, which I always did. And like, I would enjoy it, but I'm not gonna commit to doing it at a certain time right now.
no, makes
So,
sense.
Okay. Well, I'll speak with April.
Be nice, do we have to do it this year, or is that the,
Well, apparently there's a very high rush to do it, because the last time it was done in 1997.
I guess,
because I mean, it'd be nicer to do it in the spring or, you know.
well, or before it snows.
probably don't
but-
wanna do it when it's all,
You want it frozen, you want
you
things
probably
frozen.
don't wanna do it when it's all wet.
No.
But frozen nowadays is always an interesting feat, so. So, I guess all I will say is that if, you'll let us know, but I would also just find out if there is a reason for the,
You know, why is
And
it such a
prompt-
rush?
and
instead of
prompt.
let's
Yeah, I would
figure
ask
out-
you know,
that.
demand in a sense. I mean, that's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
It's an impromptu demand that, like you pointed out, hasn't been done for years. Is there something wrong? Is there something somebody sees, or is?
Well, and
What is
they-
their intent
they-
to it,
The
right?
law does say you're supposed to perambulate every 7 years. And if you were to survey 234 towns in the state of New Hampshire, you would find that, and not that that's right.
No,
I'm
no.
just saying, but you would find that
So maybe somebody-
it's something that doesn't happen.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that we brought up that we needed to do that with Bosco too, but
You need to do it with everybody, you know, but
I know
I
they're-
was hoping that we could have some knowledgeable volunteer kind of help coordinate that.
Right. Or asking somebody like.
I know, because the newsletter for Salisbury, I could see that they were really getting, wanting to do all their stuff, because they've been a woman from Franklin to do some of the Salisbury lines too, so. Yeah, that was,
I guess all I'm saying is, if necessary, I could probably grab my
Wear
Better
your-
half and-
Wear your boots.
yeah, and bring along. I mean, I know how to. I don't do it every day, and you know he has, and
I mean,
you know, we have
could-
help that does it, but.
You know, I don't know where the markers are. It does, I mean, we
I
have
have no
records
idea.
that tell, so I mean, it's.
But at the end of the day, I think it should be a little bit more planned out than a demand. But
yeah, I
if
agree.
we're gonna get into trouble, if it really needs to happen,
I mean-
I could probably do it.
Frankly, I was disappointed.
Hmm.
well, and like it says we're gonna start at this time, and a first marker located on Couchtown Road, but it doesn't really say which direction or how far or until what time.
Yeah.
So-
I have no idea what that is.
So the notice is quite a bit vague. So more detail, and of course, if we could actually work out
A different
an
time.
actual time that is planned instead of demanded.
And
If we
I would
could,
call
could you do
John
it?
Hebert too.
Well, I guess that's what I'm saying, is I would not wanna see us be representative.
Well, we obviously wanna cooperate, that's not.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
not-
Well, but I don't want them to demand and then them not change and then nobody show up, so I'd probably grab a person and come with me and, yes.
Always
yes.
grabbing a person would be.
Well, I'm just gonna grab my husband, he's better at that whole,
Yeah.
but meaning we probably could both be there and walk it if need be.
Okay, well, maybe I'll call Mr. Herbert and.
Yeah, I'd call
just,
him.
I mean, I'm not afraid to do it, is what my
Right.
point is.
Yeah,
Um,
I understand that.
Brett Walker, one of the other men, he used to live in Webster.
Oh, really?
Yep,
Oh.
yep, like his sister and my daughter were big friends and known them, they hung out at my house.
You know,
Okay.
sometimes the stories we could tell about the children that hang out at
That's
our
right, that's
who
right.
wanted to state police.
So.
I have a few of those myself.
I used to come down in the morning and I never knew who was gonna be sleeping around.
That's right.
Yep.
So that brings us to the door replacement.
This is my favorite subject. This
It's
is
a
my-
wonderful one.
So, I'm trying to do a better job on this. This is, as you see, this is not my wheelhouse. But the Portland glass, quote, does not include any electrical work. And we had thought that maybe it did because it also, has the inner and outer door for the same cost. I was concerned, I didn't want a window in the inner door, but I did on the outer door. So he
I don't
sent
think we
me,
actually have that.
well, it just came today,
Oh,
that's why
okay,
you go.
that's why.
What is this? Oh, the
So
door.
he's showing me that there's a window in one of the doors and there isn't in the other.
Oh,
That's what
okay.
he's
Oh, is
showing.
that-
Front door and
Yeah.
cafeteria.
We have to look outside
Okay,
now.
so the front door would have. a
We would
window.
like to have a window in the.
Well, yeah, I
in the door
don't
that goes
disagree
outside.
with that.
Yeah.
But now that door,
That makes
that
sense.
window is like rape resistant, I would assume.
I would guess.
Right, because that's what
Yeah.
they've been putting in the
Well-
schools and everything.
Right.
So
But
they
they're
can't
charging for
just
the door, it might-
smack
it
it with
might
a
wanna be-
hammer or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's really, we have no choice. I mean, that's the way to do it nowadays. I hate to say it.
Well, I think
but-
we had thought that was for security, it would be better to have the window.
Yeah, so you can see who's out there, right,
Uh,
exactly.
Also, of course, the fobs, they would, okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay, that's Portland glass. Now, the other would have some electrical items in the $9,000 quote that would be able to be used by the electronic security when they hook up the fob system. So,
Can I, do the ARPA funds, are we all done with those, or can we use them
No.
for the doors?
That is the plan to use.
Okay, use
Yeah.
it for the doors, okay,
Yeah.
good, because I've been doing a lot with Boston Light and Boston thing, and they're using those funds, they're using funds
Yeah.
for everything.
yeah.
So you get a lot more than we do, I think.
Well,
but-
I mean, yeah, it's great too, and we've certainly got, as you know, I brought you last week a wish list from the department heads.
Yep.
And we haven't decided on that yet, but the doors, you had, I believe you had approved that to go out of
Yeah.
ARPA already. So the door from the other vendor is really the same, one solid, one with a window in it. Their bid was $9,000.
And the first one was how much?
12,200.
Okay.
And of course, in any case, we would have to use electronic security, and their latest bid was 6,300.
And the 9,000
So you're
quote is
talking-
the one that does or does not include the electronics?
The
It
9,000
does, the 9,000 does.
Does
So
really?
the cheaper
Includes
one
And when I
was
say
more.
electronics, I say just the,
Well,
the
some
the
electrical.
connectors, some of the electrical things.
Okay. Yeah, so like strike plates and stuff probably.
Yeah.
Okay, so the cheaper one includes more.
Yeah.
I like that.
But is it on top of the $6,300?
But it would be, the
It'd be
63 would
9,000
be in
plus
addition to the
63,
9,
yeah.
yes. So you're talking,
Holy.
Well-
15, 16,000.
Maybe.
Plus contingencies, you're up to 38,000.
The fob system portion is including several things in the quote, for example, strike plates that may actually be in that other quote. So I would say that I would expect it to be similar in price, but there could be some deductions there, as well as, oh, it didn't work the way that we hoped for fishing something or whatever, so it cost more, or there was more labor. So it can go a little bit either way, but depending on if it's a solid quote versus an estimate, but.
Mhm. I think you're right. I think that the fob quote, there's a little overlap with the other.
With the less expensive one. So what do we do? Do we just need to approve the go forward with both of them at this point?
I guess what I'm asking, are you ready to just say, go with the Granite State class and electronic security and schedule the work?
I mean, we've asked everybody we could, and this is what we've got,
I went through online the other day thinking, okay, maybe, I can get another quote, because I would have liked to have had another quote. But people still are very busy and they don't get back to you.
Well, it just seems like a lot for a door. And I understand it's a security door, I get that. I mean, you
It
probably
seems
know
like a
better.
lot.
Huh?
It seems like a lot.
Yeah, it's hard to quite swallow.
Do you have any better contacts?
No, because I'll tell you right now, I'm dumbfounded on how much they want for.
Well, I was
yeah.
thinking, I was hoping maybe to find maybe a local contractor that could do it, but I haven't heard that.
Well, I mean, I don't think that like Granite State, there's just probably more to the door than I realized too, I guess. Because, I mean, they do a lot of, they do a
Well,
lot of
they do
windshield.
commercial buildings.
How much
Yeah.
is the door itself?
On the lower price one?
Sure.
The exterior door is 5,600 and the interior is 3,400.
Yes, and the door
Exterior is
itself.
the one that has the window.
Yes.
So they're gonna be security doors, but a generic, nice indoor door is 800 to $1,000 at Home Depot. And your external doors are 2-ish. So it's more than I'd like, it's more than I would have expected.
Oh, I'm not- yeah,
but
I'm
I don't
just-
think it's 100% unreasonable.
I think the quotes that we've gotten, it's not like they're,
They kind of
it is what it is.
They
It's-
kind of
yeah.
verify each other
Yes,
by
right, that's,
their
I guess
rates.
it's fun fact. And it's not like the reputation of the companies is,
Yeah.
how do I say it?
Tarnished?
Well, no, or like this high-end
Yeah.
marble door.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
a
Oh, that's what
regular.
I've got, the marble.
But that's what it feels like,
They're
or granite.
they're both the companies you would expect that also do, the school
Right.
gave them to
Right.
us and they used it for their front
Yeah.
entrance and.
I mean,
So-
one good thing is that you've got the ARPA money.
Yeah.
And the other part of it is, it has to be done, something has to be done about those doors.
And the other part is, of course, that all the materials in it, it's not like a wooden foam door,
Right, it
you'd
should
be
last a
getting-
long time.
This should be,
And
heavy
will they
stuff.
install it too?
This
This is
installed,
includes
okay.
this includes the insulation.
Okay,
At least it's a ARPA fund, so it's something that.
well, and I mean, we
Doesn't
can
cost-
talk about this 10 more times, but I don't think, it's either we're gonna do it or we're not. It's where
Yeah.
it's where I feel like we're at right
Yeah,
now.
I think
The
you're
only
right.
thing I could, if you wanted to call the school district, Fred Reagan, who's in charge of the school district stuff, and see what they did with doors, because I know we replaced doors there.
they used Portland.
Yeah.
Oh, they
Or
did.
They used one of the two, it's either
Oh,
Portland.
one of
think
the
they
two,
used Granite State,
oh, okay,
but,
okay.
He gave us one of them and it's like, oh yeah, we were
Yeah.
expecting to
Oh,
ask
okay,
them.
okay.
And have
We'd
you,
like
have
to
you replaced any
pick,
doors on the police
Fred's
station?
brain.
Yeah,
So they've been there since new.
yeah.
And we did talk to Fred. He came over and looked at our
Oh,
door.
okay, Fred did, yeah.
He's the one that
He knows,
suggested.
he's the guy, go-to guy for
Yep.
me and the school board. He knew all that stuff. He learned a lot.
Well, I think when I first came, there was a lot of conversation about the doors, and then the scope of the job changed a lot.
Repeatedly.
And then the price came in.
And I don't know.
'Cause I'm
whether
still
we
scared
really
over
ever got
here.
a price, but I don't think we ever had a decision as
Oh,
far as, I'm not criticizing, I'm just saying there was no
Right.
decision as far as what
And
was gonna happen.
which doors are fobbed in that price?
The outer and the inner door.
But I mean, for the fob portion of the quote, is it only those two? Because we were also looking at the vault and.
So we're
So
Let me
doing,
refresh my memory. I think that the electronic security, may have included the vault.
Okay.
Yeah.
so we're talking about the door downstairs, and then the inner door downstairs
So-
going into the
So
cafeteria?
the two doors that would get replaced are the entrance door downstairs and the one at the top of the ramp that
Yeah,
basically
the-
breaks up the
Right,
cafeteria and the
right, okay,
offices.
yeah, that's what I thought we were, but,
Yeah.
now are these doors, are they, well, of course, if anyone wanted to get in, they could go in the windows, I guess?
These doors are still the same. We're
Right,
not
yeah.
expecting to replace
Oh,
these
okay,
doors.
all right.
I think a situation that wasn't very long ago, I can understand that it'd be nice to, see if somebody's at the door, like I was even here with Michelle waiting for the voting people to pick up the ballots.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's like you can't, it's dark and you can't see who's at that door, so,
Right.
yeah, there's a lot of, whatever, I say we just move
Yeah, do
forward,
it, go
so we
ahead.
don't.
Yeah, okay.
So do we move to accept the lowest lowest bid for the doors and move forward with the fobs?
I think that would be appropriate.
Okay.
All right, I would move that we accept the lowest acceptable bid for the door replacements and to accept the fob bid as well, or quote, and to move forward with the project as a whole.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Kinda.
All right. That moves us on to new business. And setting the tax rate.
So we did get, I just found what I was looking for a minute ago. We did get, the school did get their figures in so that we could get our figures to the tax rate. And
One,
I can
I'll
do that.
I'll
Thank
separate
you.
that.
Oh.
Two. You've been working hard today. I feel sorry for you.
Oh, I feel terrible for myself.
It's hard on Mondays to get back in the groove.
I love that.
So, just so you have a point of, to start with, last year the municipal rate was $6, which is not on your sheet there. The county was $284, local education $11.52, and state $193, for a total of $22.29. This year, the county is down to $2.76, so in other words, that's gone down 8 cents. And local education is up 98 cents. And state education is down 43 cents. So our budget was higher than the previous year. We do have a fund balance currently of $497,000. And we also have more assessment to break up our assessed value is higher by about $2 million. If you wanted to keep your tax rate similar to what it was last year, and remember, we're only talking about the town portion. If you used $100,000 out of your fund balance, which would leave you at 6%, and the town policy is 6 to 10% keeping of the fund balance. This is the unrestricted fund balance. and the state is between 5 and 17%. So that would put you down to 605. In other words, it would go up 5 cents per thousand for the town. And then the others, if you use nothing, it would be 647. If you use 25,000, it would be 636, 5626. So it's a mathematical exercise. 75. Every 10 cents, you would have to kick in from the fund balance 23,928. This is based on assessment. 50 cents, 119, 641, or $1, 239,282. Last year you did use $100,000 in your fund balance.
Yeah. And we had used more than that the previous couple years because of COVID to try and keep taxes down for everybody. So we've depleted the fund balance a bit each year in that goal. What was the state's was between what, 6 and?
The state is 5 to 17, between 5 and
17%.
And the town, your town policy that you and I just looked at is 6 to 10.
And so,
So if you were to keep 5%, you'd need a fund balance of 314,000.
and this percentage of retainage, is that including all of these, or is that just us, and that's just us in the school, right?
It's the county as well.
Okay,
So it's the town, the school, and the county,
okay.
but not the state school, local.
So as much as I'd like to just say throw it all there and have very low taxes, that would be a bit irresponsible. The interesting part about the percentages with the fund balance, and to explain a bit how that fund balance is used. Obviously, there's like a warrant article that says, hey, let's use the fund balance to do this thing. Or in our case, it's we always have the contingency fund, for example, that takes 1% of our budget out, and that comes from the fund balance in case we need it. And then goes back if we don't use it. The thing to keep in mind about the fund balance is that since we get our taxes after we've already spent that money, the fund balance is what lets us do that without taking out the TANs, which you may have seen in the budgets as like the $1 item because we never take them, but that's tax anticipation note. So basically the town taking out a loan for 6 months. And so we never have that in the interest because we have enough in the fund balance to cover us while we're running. And so I don't want to shrink that too much. And we are kind of on the lower end of the town and state recommendations as
Which
opposed
is
to
that
towards the
5.
middle.
So what,
Yeah, the state's lowest is 5, the town's is 6, was it?
6, yeah.
and how much money can we take to fall into that? Man, I probably missed all of you. I know
So
you were talking
so
about-
to match the percentages, we could take the 100,000 and we'll be just about 6%.
Right,
For the, like, how much is used, there's clearly revenue that happens as well, and we don't typically fund our trust funds and such until closer to the end of the year. So we get away with a bit less than half of our operating budget typically without having too much of a crunch. And our operating budget will be, give or take, a bit under 1.6 million. And so this is lower than that, but because of our funds, we've managed to not have problems.
because of the fund money.
Yeah, Well, and this for the general budget stuff and the fact that we have our CRFs and ETFs for a lot of the stuff in the town that's already funded, and then we only fund it after we get taxes at the end of the year. So it works out well to prevent us from having problems.
So what does your gut say to take?
My gut says that we should get rid of as much as we can in a sane manner, while hopefully growing the fund balance a little bit.
Right.
And to me, that would be the 75K. Unfortunately,
Instead of 100.
yeah, because then it starts that growing towards when we need it, and because we kind of want to shoot for that middle ground.
And what is the usual amount that the fund balance is? Because we're not, even the 100's not using it all.
I mean, it depends on how much you wanna, I mean, the DRA says the max that they recommend, which is 17, which is $1 million, and it's $1,069,000. Well, I don't think that's gonna happen. 10% might be a good thing to shoot for, that's 600,000, 629. Now, you've got, at the end of the year, the money we haven't spent, which we estimate is maybe 100,000, we'll be able to turn around.
That's where the 100
Yeah.
comes from, is what we're estimating, that we
yeah.
don't have to dish out somewhere
What
else.
probably goes from the
Yeah.
general fund at the end of the year into the unassigned fund,
Yeah.
which is what this is.
What is the average spend for us? Like, where you get the 100,000 number, what was like last year?
I think we added, and this is something, it's an auditor type exercise that is done, but last year, I think we also added a little over 100,000.
I think, I think the past year, or the past couple years, it's been about 100,000. We had estimated, I think, about 50,000 that was supposed to happen last year, but then we got the much higher, like, meals and rooms that came as revenue.
Right, I remember talking about that, yeah.
So these figures do include, I mean, the revenues are pretty much known in this figure, because DRA and I have gone through the revenues, and they're approved it.
For the 100,000?
They've
And-
approved all the revenues
Right.
to
Oh.
work in
And,
things. It's up to the select board to decide how much
And
money they want.
the roughly 100,000 that we're expecting from the general fund or the general budget to go then into this unassigned fund after the end of the fiscal year, that's also inflated by that amount that was added by the public for fuel and other energy charges.
About 15,000.
Yeah, so there's 15,000 there. That is why this is so high this year, that we're getting it out of the fund. Generally, my best practice is when the unassigned fund is about where we want it, that the best practice would be basically whatever's coming out of the budget that's extra, that's how much you should use to offset the tax. So
Right.
then it, evens itself out. But at this point, I feel like just under that is probably the safest thing to do, but,
And your fund balance, you're always a year behind.
but that's just my gut on it. The good news is that at least so far, looking at our budget stuff,
Well, all the stuff we've been
we're
through.
looking good to.
Do we have to decide
have
this
lower-
tonight about the fund balance?
Yes, because we're setting the tax rate so that they'll be able to send out tax bills.
Well, that takes all the fun, we don't have all the budgets in place.
Well, the
I mean, I'm a
the,
little slow, but,
so the budgeting is for next year. The tax rate is based on what we did and expect for the rest of this year. So our tax rate was an estimate based on last year's for the middle line,
Right.
and this would be the second tax rate.
Interestingly enough, that we have not received all our money that we have budgeted for this year, just the way it works. We don't get, at the end of the year, we would get the complete money to cover the budget that is now finished.
So where are we getting this money from, the state, you mean?
This money?
Yeah.
It's in our bank account.
No, you said at the end of the year you.
I mean taxes coming in.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, the taxes,
Yeah.
okay, all right, I got you now. I'm
Yeah,
on
we've
your
already
wavelength.
spent it, we know,
Yeah, when you-
now we need the
I was
taxes
just
to
making
get
a
it back.
statement.
We're lucky, this town is really lucky because we don't spend a lot, take a lot of loans and spend to get everything, and then have to pay it, so we
Well,
always
and we
have a
also don't-
cushion.
Yeah, and we don't overspend a lot, so rather
No.
than dropping our unassigned fund balance, we're generally even or growing it.
Yeah.
With the exception of, we purposely dropped it during COVID to
Yeah.
help people out. I pulled up the spreadsheet from the budgeting for last year. It was actually projected to be 650 for the tax rate, and it was because of the spending that it came down. So doing this offset was fairly drastic for the last couple of years.
So what if, I mean, I don't know why I wanna make a deal with you. Oh, I feel like instead of using 100, and you wanted 75, let's meet in the middle. I don't know why. I mean,
75.
that doesn't even make any sense.
What are you feeling?
Because I kind of get what you're saying. Don't use it all. Okay. And you're thinking 25%, and then for some reason my mind says,
Yeah, so,
how about 85?
so I would be okay with that. The reasoning for me is that according to Dana, we're gonna expect about 100,000 to come from our budget that we didn't use back to the fund. So the 100,000 basically keeps us about where we are. But we know that it would be good for it to be slightly larger. And so anything under that, for me, is a good idea. I don't wanna go like, no, let's not do anything, because that would be heinous and cruel to our citizenry. But,
Okay, so yeah,
what
that's my
what are you
bid.
feeling? What do you think about all this?
Well, I like the $100,000 thing, but I'll go along with the 80.
Well, so don't I. I mean, I don't, do not, Mrs. Strum. And in my world of budgets, you live to year.
Well, right, if that's
And
how I think.
I think, but I also understand where you're coming from in the sense that, you know, we don't want to leave us hanging either.
But see, what I'm thinking too is the safety building will be paid for this year.
Yeah.
So next year we'll have that extra money that we're paying out.
No,
No.
no.
Why
That just
would
means
you-
that it's not in the budget, so we don't ask for it.
No, we don't ask for it, so the budget would go down because we're not paying it.
Right.
Your
But
percentage.
we don't have to
Budget will
raise
go
it,
down,
that's
but
the thing.
But that won't change the unassigned
put
fund
in the-
balance or
under the
what's
side of-
extra that goes back. Because it's not like we're asking for the same amount and then just not paying the bond.
Yeah, no, I know, the unassigned just kinda goes in
So-
the savings account,
So since you both said 100 and I had said 75, I ran the math and it says that's like 91, so how about we settle on like 90?
Okay,
Sold.
sounds like a deal. Gee, we
But it's so weird, it's like, we're all in this together, I don't know why
Exactly.
we're like, you know, dickering.
Well, it's because everybody has a slightly different opinion
Well,
on what's the best course
right,
of action.
right,
If they're
right.
all okay.
Right.
Just think what we do and those politicians don't do it, we compromise. Wouldn't it be nice if everybody did that?
So
We
now
also
that you-
talked with smiles. and
Yeah,
respect.
that's true, and laughing. We
Here's
still
what
laugh.
I do now, I go down and I send to the DRA that you're gonna use 90 out of your fund balance.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we'll set the rate and have the commissioner okay it. Then I'm gonna have to run the warrant, and the reason I'm telling you is I'll need you to sign it, because Karen will wanna run the, tax bills as soon as she can.
Yeah, probably, yeah, because I've already got some.
So you're trying
Yeah.
to say, today, we're gonna hang out here till you do all that?
No, I
Oh,
have
yeah,
to,
no.
I have to have the DRA.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
okay,
DRA's
that's
gonna
right,
work
gotta
with
go
sign it.
DRA, that's
So,
right.
let's just hope they're not gonna take 3 weeks, I mean, and they won't, but.
Nah.
Yeah. But anyway,
Yeah,
so
'cause we're
if you're around, and I hate to keep bugging you to come in, but,
Oh, just, you love it, you know it.
oh, okay, I do like it, yeah. Okay, so I'll go ahead and take care of that.
And then related is equalization certificate. I think we just need to sign that.
Yes.
They tell us what they think our stuff is worth, and then it all gets fixed next year at our revaluation.
Right. So I will fill in the name of the town when I get, before I send it in.
Well, you might want to, it's kind of important.
I thought it was a good one.
All right, I'm only looking for
That's why you make the big bucks, Dana.
This is,
this one. I thought this would be cool,
Okay.
but it's a piece of junk.
And that
Thank
moves
you.
us to,
These
See, I
are the
like
ones
to
that
sign
last.
middle every time.
and that moves to the town hall rental policy.
All right, that was a draft I came up with, because we talked about it before, having an actual firmer policy. Dana should have sent you copies of it. It's basically a precept of what we are already doing. I just took another town's policy and then rewrote it to do what Webster does. I've already had Brenda look it over, and she seems to agree with everything in there. She made a couple of suggestions to add to another sheet that's not included in there, but it's basically where you find the brooms, how to turn the heat on, and that type of thing.
how to turn
The
it
use and
on.
care instructions, got it.
Yes, so it's nothing like part of the policy, but it would go with
Every lease.
Every time
Yeah,
we
whatever.
send
So
it
this
out.
would be something you would hand out to people.
This is something that people are gonna have on the website to read, and when they come in to fill out the form, I'll have them read it real quick. And I'm thinking about adding a line in there that says they've read the policy, because especially that
Yes.
top one right there that says, you know, if we have an emergency and we need to use the hall, we'll do whatever we can to work around your schedule and your appointment, but if we need the hall, we need the hall. You know, it might happen. Anything
You mean
else?
like Buffalo, like a lot of snow or something?
Yeah, I mean, it could happen. It could happen.
My God.
Sorry, we need this as a warming shelter.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this used to be sort of our emergency shelter, but technically that's the school now,
Right, because
so.
of the generated stuff.
There are a couple other things in there. I wanna redo the rate. I've been talking with Brenda about how much it actually costs for her to clean the hall, because it hasn't been updated in a while. And I wanna make sure that we're covering our expenses. And the last part there is I've been toying with the idea of suggesting maybe like the police revolving fund, starting a recreation revolving fund, so that money doesn't go to the fund balance at the end of the year. Instead, it gets saved in an account to be used to, like, say, for example, fix the counters, fix the drawers, pay Brenda for cleaning when somebody hires it. That way we don't lose it every year, and we can just pile it up to start being able to, like, maintain these two rooms a little bit better.
Self-sufficient,
Because those are
like.
self-sufficient, like.
Yeah, because the floor is always, once in a while, you gotta
You're
have
gonna
the
need to
floors
replace the
redone.
floors, and that way we're casually saving the money, but once again, that would have to be something that would have to go to a warrant article at town meeting for the town to vote for.
And that's like if we need to replace the curse, we used to have plays and everything here, this should be
Right.
so much
But
fun.
that's what you could use it for.
Yeah,
You could
to do
also,
something like that.
say, for example, something happens, a lot of the pots and pans get broken downstairs. You could use it to get more pots and pans, replace the fridge, you know,
Yeah,
stuff like
yeah,
that.
right, that is a big thing.
So what do we have to do to say that we want the funds to do that? We have to write a warrant article?
We have to write a warrant article to start the recreation revolving fund.
Now, does it have to have no, it wouldn't have you wouldn't have to have a set amount, it would be like a percentage maybe of the rent for the hall or something like that?
Right, it would be whatever application fees came out.
Okay,
Would go into the revolving fund, and then we could say offset Brenda's cleaning salary with
Yeah.
it for the amount of time she's had to come in. And that way, it, like, same thing with the police revolving fund, it just doesn't go away at the end of the year, we get to keep carrying it over.
So one thing that does happen, and I have to be the curmudgeon that points this out, it would take it out of the revenues. So,
And how much was the revenue last year from it?
I don't know, I have to look, yeah.
I mean, is it not that very?
I don't think it's gonna make it much difference.
No.
I mean, I don't think it's a bad idea, I'm just
No,
telling
it's
you
I
that.
mean, Dave let us spend
there's a-
another 10
there's an
grand out
offset
of
to
fund
it.
money. No. We should be good. Just kidding.
Well, I know I keep arguing
Or
at the
50 grand.
CIP, there's things that need to be done to the hall, and it's always a very hard sell to say, you know, fix some of those counters downstairs, and the drawers that are falling out and stuff like
No,
that.
I think that's
Because
a
I
real
think
good
this,
idea, but that's me.
since
No,
I
I,
think
you
that
have
should
to-
be part of, like, in general, that should be part of a maintenance thing and part of the trust funds, like, that's why we have them. So,
well, we asked, they said no.
Well, we had asked for the CIP, but we
Yeah.
certainly could bring you, an idea
Yeah.
of what it would cost. I mean, that's not saying you
Well, we
need to go
did
with
get
it,
an-
but
an
you
estimate.
had an estimate from
well, in
someone.
theory, we get all of that in the CIP report, so.
Yeah, but we have to sell it to the CIP, and they didn't buy it.
They didn't buy it, right.
Well, but,
Well, we tried it last year. I didn't put it in this year because I like to give it a year's rest.
Yeah. Well, we're really lucky we have this. I
And
remember
they've
we
been
did
very-
have a town hall and it was, you know,
Right.
We're
it was
very
just-
fortunate, it's a
Well,
very beautiful.
This
Yeah,
really is a
this-
great building.
And-
This is our
Yeah.
closest thing to
Yeah.
a community center in town.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
People rent this hall, since after COVID, at least at the end of the summer, people have pretty much been renting this hall almost every other weekend.
It's
So
pretty
we've
busy.
been using it a lot.
I think all we're saying is it's,
We wanna keep it up.
yeah, we wanna keep it nice to be able to keep renting it.
mhm.
I don't think anybody looked at it as a revenue source to keep your taxes down. It's a revenue source to have a great place to rent and.
Well, I look at it more as it's our building, so we should just be trying to do the maintenance for it.
Yeah,
And anything that we happen to get from people just goes into revenue, because we're already paying to do it anyway. I mean, it's this, it ends up doing the same thing
well,
either way, but.
okay, but did they just say that certain people have to approve that?
Well, so,
You're talking
Are
about
you
legal.
afraid of kind of
Sort
like
of,
the
but
fact
not
that
really.
the bank got too big, it wouldn't be used correctly?
no, it's more that, so the CIP committee will take recommendations of projects, larger things, vehicles, et cetera, and say, we think it should be this way on this schedule, and that's basically what we get for our funds. And what they suggest gets put into each of the trust funds and CRFs. And I personally think that we shouldn't have to go about setting up and doing administration
more
for
money.
and tracking yet
Yeah,
another
I
fund.
agree, that's a pain in the butt too.
Just to be able to maintain our building.
No, you're right
Like,
there.
it should already, like, we already have a maintenance fund, we should just put a little more in it each year until we can do it. That's my personal feeling, but
Is it the
Right.
KISS idea, keep it simple, stupid, or?
I like
Kind
to,
of, like, 'cause
I like to
the
make it so
well,
there's
it
less for
caught-
people to have to do, and it
That's
just
right,
works.
or it track in a sense, you know, then
Yeah.
you're like, well, where'd that money go?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, well, we kind of understand what happens with the police revolving fund. The majority of people won't follow that, because it doesn't generally matter to them.
Yeah.
Especially if it's a smaller amount, like would be for the hall.
Yeah.
And it just seems like a lot of overhead for something we should just be taking care of.
That's true.
Um,
Okay, so we're
but
just gonna go
that's
with what
just-
Dave said.
That's just my personal opinion. Um,
But it was a good, but I get what, I get.
I like the idea.
Me too, but I'm,
I would prefer to, like, if we think we would get, say, $500 out of it in a given year, I would prefer to just add $500 to our town hall maintenance,
Less
fund.
bookkeeping, yeah, less bookkeeping too.
I'll have to go back into the government buildings budget and add some money there.
Well, that just goes back into the fund, not into the trust fund, so.
No, but we're gonna just pay direct.
Anyway, so, as regarding the policy that you've got in front of us, the one thing that I have comment on, and I don't think there's a better way for us to do it right now, but my one comment would be that the security deposit check,
Should get deposited.
I like the fact that it is, let's hang on to it and then get rid of it, but, lots of checks unfortunately bounce these days, and so
Yeah, I know, but somebody doesn't like doing refunds.
whether it's a refund or not, et cetera, the problem is that based on the timing here, which is 72 hours prior, even if we were to immediately deposit something, the check still would not have cleared by that time.
Right, and then you
So
have-
it's not gonna actually help us to do a deposit and refund unless we demand it far earlier, which
Which usually
is
they're
then-
supposed to. But
Okay.
then again, it's usually, you need to give us 72 hours notice to rent the hall.
Yeah.
And maybe that's one of those things, when if it's at 72, they probably have to pay in cash the 250, and then they put it right in.
I
But-
have to say, I mean, I feel checks should be deposited right away,
Right.
any check.
And the second, like, once we get to a point, who knows when or if, but once we eventually get to a point where credit cards start working for everything and not just the clerk, then that's an easy hold on a card, and they can't, like, yes, we know they have the money and it's yours if you need it, until you say no. And so that is a thing that then makes it easy and you don't even need any time.
We are lucky, I mean, we don't get very many,
No.
on.
I think that's
checks.
because the majority of people that rent our stuff are in town, and
Yeah.
the majority of people in town are pretty responsible.
Yeah.
Well, and if
Yeah, I
something
agree.
bad did happen, they'd might be like, oh, I'll be right back with that.
Yeah, so I don't think there's necessarily a better way to do it right now.
Right.
But it's something that we do need to
Be aware.
watch out for in case there becomes a problem.
Right, and I agree with you on that, like, watch it, as unfortunately rules
Well, maybe
are
we can
created.
change it a little, if it's within so much time, it would need to be a cash deposit
Yeah.
or something like that, or a credit card, and when you take credit cards,
No, I'm
which
working
next
on that.
week,
That's my
yeah,
next project.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, when we actually take credit cards, then we can update all of this, but,
yeah. Is that when you can put a hold on
Do-
something and then?
do we, is there anything else that we want for questions or comments on this, or do we want to adopt it?
Adopt it.
Yeah, we can adopt it, that sounds good
And we
to
can
me.
always amend it, because I think
Do you-
I am gonna redo the fee schedule.
Well, the fee, you'd have to have them approve the fees.
Yeah, we'd have to redo the fees.
Okay, so why don't we let you figure out the fees and then give us one to adopt
Yeah.
once that's done?
Hopefully, you know, within the
Unless
next
the
2
board
meetings
doesn't-
in December.
Right.
No,
Because then we can
okay.
adopt a new fee schedule starting for next year.
Sounds great. All right. That moves us on to holiday party.
That's the only reason I showed up tonight.
That's why I'm here.
Well, we've heard a lot of talk about the way there used to be a holiday party. And apparently it was everyone would bring a dish, and the select board would supply, top shelf liquor, for the party. Yeah.
I don't know.
That's
if-
the only
I don't
reason
know
why
if
we
I'd-
come.
I don't know if I'd call it top shelf when I came, but,
Well, I just added that.
Well, let's put it this way, just use your little bit of holiday spirit and it'll always be coming.
Hey, Dana, where is this?
This is
Where,
true.
where does this top shelf start? See, most things I buy is right at my eye level. But I do get crap by some of my friends that are taller than me.
I can help you make selections.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not Mad Dog 2020.
Yeah. So I guess, and maybe we're a little late coming to the party, if you will, but, to pull that together, obviously, we would have to do it. In the past, all committees have been invited. Is it something you want to do this year? I guess is why it's here.
Can I make a suggestion?
Sure.
Do it after the holidays.
Well, we do call it a holiday party, so
Yeah,
we
I
could
mean,
do
it
that.
Well,
after the
no,
holidays,
and
'cause
we- yeah.
everybody's busy up until then, and
That's a good
everybody's planning
idea.
this. so
We've
have
had our
one
Christmas
afterwards.
parties in February
That's,
before.
yeah, that's what we've done
I
before.
was just gonna say, I'm sorry, a New Year's sobriety party doesn't sound like the best idea.
You're just trying to get out of the top shelf.
I sometime in January when
That would be
everything's
nice, when everything's down
quiet.
in the dumps, everybody's waiting for spring, yeah, I think that would be good, I think that's a great idea, that's good, chief.
Thank you,
I think that's
that's
a good
he
idea.
knows these things, yeah.
Yeah. Little did we know.
Roughly when I know there's a time period, and I'm jumping ahead by a bunch, but since it's next year, roughly when do we have to have our budget hearing by?
The public hearing?
Yeah, the public budget hearing before we go to actually putting the budget and then,
Usually the first week in February.
okay, so it is still February. Okay,
Yeah.
that's good.
Why do we have a gathering and party before we get our budget hearing in place?
Well,
No,
That's the best thing. We'll be laughing through the whole thing.
No, do it all that night? No.
there's a period that they give you, it's between, so many days before the town meeting, so there's like a 10-day.
Okay.
You have to have your first one, then if you need a second one, you can do that within 40 days or something.
Plus we have to figure out it might snow, so you have to have a snow date or whatever.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
You could just, sleep over at town hall.
Oh, well, that'd be fun.
Bring your
There we
sleeping
go.
bag.
Bring your
Well,
sleeping bags.
generally it would be held no matter the weather unless it's like an
No.
actual emergency.
I don't like, I don't know.
Because it's a noticed hearing.
Yeah, but I don't like, if
Changing
it's
it
really bad
does
weather,
things.
that's not a good thing. You don't want people on the road trying to kill
Oh, I
themselves.
agree, but,
So,
but a noticed hearing.
We do live in
is-
New
This is
Hampshire.
a noticed hearing. If they don't show up because of the
We're
weather.
not-
okay, but can't you notice a hearing and say if there's inclement weather or something, we'll have it on this day?
It's up to you guys.
Well,
I
I
know there
don't
was a
think I've
town
ever
meeting
seen
on
that
the
for a
books
public
once,
hearing.
they had to cancel, but they opened the meeting, and then they postponed
Yeah.
it.
yeah, we've done that before.
Yeah.
I remember doing that.
Yeah, we could do.
School
we could
board did that.
technically do that,
Few
yeah.
people on the school board went. I didn't have to go this far away.
The problem is if you announce it that way, then some weather happens, is that weather that cancels it or not? And then who makes the call? Because normally that would, if it's say town meeting itself, that would be the moderator.
Mm.
For something like this, it wouldn't be. And then also, more importantly, the confusion that can cause with, well, it snowed, so or it said it was gonna
Why'd you
snow,
have
so I
it?
didn't show up.
Didn't we go through that? Not very
Yeah.
long
Yeah,
ago.
we
Well,
went
Yeah.
through that.
if you remember
Two
a certain
people
town
come,
meeting
yeah.
that we were sitting
Across the
outside the
street.
rain.
So those kinds of things, well, even if it's not that, it's, like that kind of thing happens a lot with a rain or snow date sort of scenario. With, well, it was doing this, so I didn't come, but no, it wasn't actually
But-
canceled. and-
That's before all this online stuff was, so I don't know,
Mhm.
or you could always, fool around with the telephones and, put a message on that it's not gonna be around, we wouldn't be holding town if you have enough. I mean, we don't wanna be like Buffalo, New York with 6 feet of snow on
No,
town
it's
meeting
probably not
day.
gonna happen.
Well, at that point, you've
I
got
think-
an emergency,
Yeah.
and you can declare something. Or we all come here and we say, well, we're opening this public hearing and we are, what's the technical term for it? I just blanked on it.
We are going to,
Reschedule.
No, it's like we did
we're gonna
with
continue the hearing at the next
a
meeting.
continuation of hearing,
Will
and,
occur at X date
Yeah.
at this place.
and like you just announce that at that time, and then you're fine.
That's what we had to do
Or
with
you
those
say,
ZBA
oh,
hearings.
budget passes because there's no.
And we did that with the barn. Like we
Yeah.
set it up for the next time, but it has to start at the specified time.
Right.
We'll be fine.
Yeah.
Set the meeting and send it.
It'll be fine.
Yeah, come on, next.
Anyway, that moves us to abatements.
Okay, so this is a property that, the property owner had applied for an abatement with the town. Unfortunately, in this case, the assessors never addressed it, which is an automatic no. So the taxpayer went to the town of Webster. We've changed our process of doing this so that we can keep a better track on this as well. They have worked with the property owner, and they have come up with an amount that the assessor is comfortable with and that the taxpayer is comfortable with. And so it's an abatement for $26,333, going from $387,333 to $361,000.
Oh, okay, the abatement is in assessed.
Yeah.
Got it.
So, yeah.
So.
I was getting worried that we were giving that much money back.
No, no. So I have that form that needs to be signed that I need to send back to the BTLA. And then part of the order is the town has to refund, this is for 2021 taxes. The town has to refund the difference that is now abated, plus 4% interest. So the abatement will be total of $611, $587 for the abatement, and $24 for interest.
So,
being that this is, the assessors didn't do it, can we bill the assessors for that amount?
I highly doubt it.
But I tried it.
Good try.
I mean,
Shouldn't that
I
be
mean,
the
that's
way?
what we pay them for.
And again, that probably doesn't have bearing on what the assessment came back at. You know, I'm just saying, they should have addressed it better.
So this is the, this
Now,
goes
what was
with
the
this, right?
abatement for? Because normally we would see that, instead of just a settlement like this. Because normally we would sign off on an
It was
abatement.
in the land value,
Oh,
mainly. It went from a land value of 146, 133 to 108, 100. Buildings, actually the buildings are higher.
If I remember correctly, I think Cheryl was mentioning that some of the land values and similar land types on the abutting properties were lower than what they were valued at.
So this must be down in.
not
Okay.
You took it in,
It's
right?
it's where, no, it's the house that the guy that has the grain
It's the
store
how you
used to
value,
have.
value
Oh.
land,
Yeah.
especially when,
Oh.
It's a nice
like,
house. It's-
some
it's-
places
Yeah,
have
Go down
a
the hill and
specific,
it's
like,
on the right.
view, scenic view,
thought they had a-
extra for different kinds of
37
frontage and
acres.
its percentages and so on.
Must be in
We don't have any of
Well,
that,
that's
so,
right.
so how do
Actually-
you define what the value is?
Some of it is, yes.
Yeah.
But
So trust your assessors.
Yeah, but like, there should be, normally they would have a, like,
something to work with?
if there's a view, it's this, if it's a this kind of view, it's that, if it's a river frontage, it's this, if it's
Yeah,
pond
it's
frontage,
extra.
it's that.
Views are extra,
But,
river's extra, water's extra. Swamp.
as far as I've been able to find out, neither
You get
us nor
discounted
our
on
assessors have
swamps.
ever had one of those for Webster.
What, view? No.
Like a chart of this is how we come up with this
Oh,
valuation for
oh.
a property.
They must go by federal or state laws.
Well, they do have, I think they use
Some
Marshall
people.
Swift figures that gives them figures. So we should really ask them if they can provide that. You might be interested in seeing.
That would be good.
Okay, so I have that, and do I have this back? I didn't give it to you. I need that as well.
Well, where do we, this taxpayer signature, it says taxpayer signature, that's why I have.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so here's what, municipality signature and title. Would you authorize me to sign it, or?
Sounds
you want to
good.
sign it?
Yes, you
Okay.
can sign it.
All right.
Sign away.
Thanks, Steve.
You're welcome.
Or should that be Russ, because he's the land use guy?
Yeah,
He
you
could,
could do
it could
that.
be Russ.
Either way, whenever you want.
It doesn't matter to me.
Dana's got a pen in hand.
Okay, so I'll take, because we'll mail it back to the BTLA, so we'll all
Make
be,
everybody happy.
we'll all be
Yeah.
Jake.
Yay.
What else do we got?
That moves us to the NHDES letter.
Yes. You and I had talked about that, and I had sent out a copy of it.
So we have to sign this.
Hopefully you've gotten, and I guess that
That's all of us.
I need to
Yeah.
know if you want to send it.
I read it and I'm
Okay.
not sure. I like it.
I requested some adjustments to the verbiage that they had in there to make it more specific.
Have we did we talk to legal to see if this is even necessary?
Yeah, what did legal say about it? Because it was supposed to get run by them.
Frankly, he didn't feel it was necessary.
To sign this, you mean, to have?
He didn't
this
feel the
thing?
letter was necessary.
So do we doing this letter, or are we not doing this
I
letter?
mean, and I was gonna tell you that.
Oh, thank
You know,
you.
that, I think that, I don't see what it does for the town, and the attorney, I mean, we're always liable for everything anyway.
Well, not in a way, not, because it's two property owners.
Well, so we shouldn't be liable for
So-
this, is what I'm saying.
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
we should not be.
Right,
The-
Right.
right.
I don't know, what are we doing?
The
Yeah.
concern was that our road agent was involved.
And that there might be liability towards them as the road agent. And that was their concern.
Yeah, no, I
They
remember
requested this.
saying that. But I don't, I mean, he's got another life too. We hire him, but he's got, you know, his own other things she does too, so, and I don't think that's hurting their property either, so.
Oh, no, and nobody does at this point, except for maybe the one
Those
particular
people.
person.
Right.
And DES already told them that it wasn't a problem.
Yeah.
The concern from the road agent, from my best understanding, is because they are now aware of an issue, because they were invited to go there and look.
Mm.
And this would be the way of addressing that without making a formal complaint. That's my best understanding of it.
So do you think we should sign this as selectmen? No, I don't think so. I don't know. The attorney didn't think so?
I think it's a good letter. I don't personally think that it needs to come from anybody other than perhaps the road agent. I'm all for supporting our road agent
Oh, I
though,
am too.
so I'm okay with whichever way the board decides.
No, I did not ask the attorney about only having the road agent sign it, 'cause that's certainly a consideration.
Hmm.
Which, that might change things,
Okay.
might not. So I can send it to him again with that idea.
So you mentioned that you had some reservations or questions on it. What are they?
I
Because maybe, like, you're more in this industry
Well, I
than
just,
we are, so.
I mean, I kinda get what they're feeling. I just, everything is, just don't know that that's where we should put our nose.
It's
That's-
between neighbors.
Well, so
Basically.
whatever, and if they feel like, if somebody sees something and they want to, you know, he's an agent of the town, right?
Mhm.
It's not like if he came to us because he felt the need to do what he needs to do,
Mhm.
whatever that might be, we're not gonna not support him
Right.
if that's what the facts support, right?
Mhm.
I have a little bit of trouble, and I get it, not that we don't want to support our agent that works with us.
Mhm.
I just feel like we're stepping in amongst something that, you know, neighbors are neighbors, and they've done a great job to minimize and mitigate and try to work along with somebody.
Well,
If
and-
it was even a problem, you know.
Well, we got the copy from DES
Yeah,
that
that's
said
right.
it
It's all-
wasn't,
it's all
so-
right.
They've proven it's not there.
That's right, that's
Right.
right, so
So
I
I think we
just-
should keep out of it. So neighbor by neighbor.
The concern would be that maybe this starts another process that could then become more involved.
Or if there was a event that this man's property was damaged because of wood drain. Since the road agent knows that there was a undersized pipe there, although it's on private property, is what I believe.
Yeah, it's private property. So,
So
I mean, I feel like
So I think
it
on
might,
private
this might
property,
happen, we send this, and the person's gonna be like, what are they talking about? And which then
because
creates,
DES at this point has a closed docket or whatever
Right.
they call it.
right,
Yeah.
and they've told him that that wasn't true, and.
Yeah, DES has
Yeah.
closed it, saying, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. And, yeah, I don't know.
It's
It's
kind
like
of
a
staying out of neighborhood disputes, or neighbors' disputes.
And not that we wouldn't
It's not-
support. Yeah, it's not really our. Yeah,
Okay.
Do you think you'd like Dana to ask the lawyer if we should send it via the road agent in the sense that he feels like that's what he saw? If he saw,
I would be comfortable with Dana asking that question if the road agent thought they wanted to send it that way.
okay,
And then if legal says it's appropriate, then that would be fine. I don't wanna do that if the road agent doesn't want us.
that's right, that's right, yep,
So-
no, as we are
So, yeah.
supported of,
So,
And I don't think I mean, there's no damage on the property it just goes downhill, so that's what happens when you live downhill from things. So, you know, if it's a really bad rain, I mean, sometimes roads get washed out and everything else. I've seen that happen. I remember Faith Anderson was coming home from some kind of a thing in the road, Long Street, washed out somewhere. She ended up in the road because it all just washed out.
I wish we'd had him here to talk, to let them talk about it, because most of that was them working with Dana.
Yeah,
I just reworded a couple things to make it more solid.
yeah.
well, we can, I mean.
Well, they didn't give me the wording for the letter, I mean, that was just a frame I made up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And so, I'm fine with taking the board's consensus that we shouldn't send it, and he can bring it up to us next meeting if he feels there's a better argument to make against that.
Okay, yeah.
Or if he wants to sign it on his own, then
Why don't
Dana
I
can
talk
ask
to
legal
Emmett
about that.
and tell
Yeah.
him if maybe he wants to talk to you about it at the next meeting?
Either way.
Yeah.
All right. So that moves us on to correspondence.
Okay, you have an enforcement action for, read that.
All right, I don't have that in my packet.
No, that just came from the land use
yeah.
office this afternoon.
Marlo knows. That's gonna be a pain in the tuchus.
What was that?
Read it and you'll know.
Oh, I will, okay.
Well, have to apply everything the same to everyone.
See, I thought that was in my packet.
No,
No,
I'll have to
that
read it.
came after your packet got made.
we didn't dare put it in, we knew it was so
That's why I went into correspondence, cause it's a recommendation from the planning board for you to do something.
Ah, I'll read it now.
And when you read it, you'll understand the basis.
Well, what's fair for one is fair for all.
Right.
Yep.
That's right. Okay.
Watch out if you ask me.
Okay,
you'll
so
go right
are
in.
you-
So then we would
You
need to sign it then. Yeah.
All right.
And then Dana's gonna mail it out.
Is he gonna put his return address?
I already put his return address.
It's just funny how he said he's gonna mail it out.
Well, I put the generic town admin address on enforcement actions.
I have an unlisted address.
It all goes to my phone anyway.
I'm sure this will all work out.
And so at
Yes.
least one person put a
My
date on it.
birthday.
I'll take
I
care of
assume
that. I'll
that
take
the
care
right
of it.
things will be done.
Yeah.
Right.
The
And
next
the-
item I have, which I think is in your packet, is resignation from Sarah Chalsma from the supervisor of the checklist. And
Did that on my birthday.
so,
Yes, happy.
Thank
is today your
Yes.
birthday?
No, 13th of November.
What, a big
I'm a
sixty?
Another
Did you get the
Scorpio.
flowers and the cake I sent?
No, I didn't do it.
Oh, they got lost in the mail?
Oh, jeez. Gotta watch the mail guy.
I should have written her a letter, and I will do that.
Can we give her a card thanking her for
Yeah.
all that, and then we can all sign it?
Sure.
I think that would
So-
be good.
Yeah.
I'd like to do that.
Okay.
She worked hard.
Yes,
Oh,
she did.
oh,
She did a very
I'll
good
tell you,
job.
the volunteers,
Yeah.
they worked their butts off.
did a great job.
I did, again, shout out to all of them.
And I have to say, can we invite her to our party when we have it next year?
Oh, I don't think
Can't swing
Hey,
it,
do you-
sorry.
I'm
can
gonna
invite
pull, I'm
whoever
making a push for that, so.
Does that mean I have to bring waffles?
It depends what you,
What's on our bring item list? Top shelf, no.
You bring the top shelf, I'll bring the waffles.
I'll take the waffles.
the
I don't
last
drink.
letter is regarding Olive Wood Energy. They are extending their exercise to extend the agreement we have with them.
Things went slow, so they have to pay to continue to have their agreement with the transfer station to be able to install stuff. So they're paying for that.
No?
And that's for the transfer station portion, because that's the only town-owned portion, so that'll go into the transfer station and then be split amongst the two towns.
Oh, okay.
Goodbye.
Will they be paying Hopkinton and then
Yeah, because
And
it
then they'll
goes to
split it with us. Okay.
the transfer station
Okay.
at Hopkinton, and
Okay.
then, in theory, we just pay less or something like that.
okay.
It would be nice to have that done.
It would be.
Yes, it would be.
Well,
What
with
was
all things
that?
being delayed right now, I can
Well,
expect it being
everything's-
even further
They've
delayed.
been working on it as hard as they can. They've been waiting for stuff
Oh,
for
for the government?
years now.
Yeah, for the, like the fast moving
But
government?
in theory, they haven't given me a date yet. They were hoping to get a message to me or a letter with some dates coming up. But the expectation is that sometime at the beginning of the coming year, we'll actually start to see some of the civil engineering planning.
Oh, good.
For like access roads or fences and stuff like that. So we'll be able to start meeting up with the solar subcommittee meeting again
Oh, good.
at some point.
I'd be excited about
And
that.
then we can start moving forward again.
Okay, sounds like a plan. Okay.
Now you can yell at my minutes.
All right.
Dave, what'd you find?
Did we get through? Is minutes next?
Yes.
It is minutes, all right.
I know I'm cringing. This is where I get abused every Monday night.
So.
What was that?
This is where I
so
get
the,
abused every Monday
The
night.
two that I
Oh.
had are pretty simple. Page 2, line 23 is had, so there's just one of them needs to go away. And page 2, line 50 is supposed to say every 7 years for the perambulation stuff,
Oh, yeah. Fun story on that
perambulation
one.
stuff.
Okay. What was the second one?
Page 2, line 50,
Every
it should say
7.
every 7 years.
Okay.
Those were the 3 paragraphs I had to rush at the end.
You did well. Look
No,
at-
I thought I had finished it, and I look back as I'm handing it to Dana, and I'm like, I'm missing 3 agenda items.
Oh.
But
nice.
yeah, so those were the 2 that I had. Any other?
I hate to say it, I didn't look at it, so. I'm busy on my Boston papers, so.
I can't believe
Well,
this.
I will send you the Word version as soon as I amend them, so you can put them in your
No,
paper.
this is fine, I am, we have great, I won't go into that, but our notes are very nice, they're very concise.
I try.
Yes, you do well.
I mean, they were a lot longer when I first started, but I think I've gotten to a
You
good spot.
you do really well.
They're still detailed enough to get everything in there,
Exactly.
but they're concise, and
Yes.
that's awesome.
I am gonna send you some other
Um,
ones that
I know I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. So,
Motion is amended.
I would move that we accept the minutes for both the public and non-public sessions as amended.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
How do we
Alright.
amend the non-public one?
Well, we didn't amend the non-public
Okay.
ones, but,
You notice the non-public ones have a little different writing style. Less is more.
Yes, they do.
so, signing of documents and motions of payments.
Yeah, I don't have anything for you to sign, but I do have a corrective motion for from the last meeting. We had a bill for VHB and I had the wrong invoice number. So I've got that, and then I have another bill from VHB
Oh, being good.
for their latest. They're very good at sending bills.
Dave D. all got it. That's how we're voting.
I don't like this charge of 3 hours for, no, I'm just kidding. I mean, you look at this, I mean.
It's hard to know.
I mean,
Yeah, it's hard to know.
they don't,
You're kind of
It's like,
at,
what did we get out of that?
yeah,
all you can do
A
is
bill.
look at the I look at the contract to see if it looks like it matches, and I have to say they're pretty good about that.
Can I ask something?
No.
I mean, they're looking at, our wonderful police chief is here. Do you have anything to meet us with, or you just,
No, I'd like to come to the meeting just to see.
oh, thank you. We like
Okay,
this.
so-
we like having you here.
Yes, we
But
do.
you skipped the public comment.
We didn't want it.
Would you like to make a comment?
My comment was, everybody's doing a great job, and I bid you adieu.
Oh, thank you very much for coming.
No, I just should come to the meetings. If I can, I definitely want to.
Oh, you do a great
Wow,
job,
we
so.
do appreciate it, really.
I just figure you'll tell us if you got something to say, so.
Absolutely. If I got something to say, I'll tell you.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks, Steve.
Hey, have a nice night, and we'll decide on the date for our little party.
Yeah,
Next year. Happy
Absolutely.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
Don't eat too much.
yes, happy Thanksgiving.
Oh, we'll have two.
Okay, oh, that's okay.
At least you listened to me, Dana,
But, all right, we'll have what?
Listen to you, why?
because it was like, we'll have it next year. I'm like, yeah, next December.
No. When it's nasty out,
All right.
it'll be.
Okay,
Um,
yeah, because I don't see us saying no.
I would move to reconsider the motion from November 7th, 2022, referencing VHB to correct the invoice number to 386242-40.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And now for the new one. I would move to request the trustees of trust funds issue a check payable to VHB in the amount of $1,322.92 for invoice 0391196-42 for engineering work on Clothespin Bridge Road. Funds to be withdrawn from the Bridge Improvement Capital Reserve Fund.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
I do have something for you to sign.
Oh, he lied to
I
you.
misspoke.
Oh, you
Okay,
missed.
like
Oh,
those.
we're gonna.
He's a liar.
Liar.
What a liar.
Is this all, this is all
Those are the electric bills.
electric bills?
Yeah.
Oh, it'd be the supporting documents for the.
It's all the bills.
So you have to,
You have to memorize
you have to
those.
memorize those and put those on.
Are we doing a non-public tonight?
We are not, or I don't have anything for non-public.
That is amazing. That's why I thought he was here. Usually when he shows up, he wants.
I know, I kinda
Yeah.
did too. Well, that was nice of him.
I like it too, and we're getting out pretty decent
All right.
time.
This is yours, sir.
Thank
This
you.
can go in garbage.
Oh, okay, this is the bank account. Nice.
I have one thing to say after the meeting, it doesn't have to be non-public. Are we doing, who's doing the, town report? Who's doing the town report?
We're doing, well, we always do.
Oh, I figured that. You don't have a committee, you guys.
We just put it
No,
together.
We're the committee.
We,
That's a good
We're not a
deal.
good committee, but
he grabs the whip and then I go to all the boards and I'm like, please give it to us. And I'm the nice one, he's the bad.
Oh,
tough.
okay, now I
Russ
remember
does a
that.
nice job with that.
All right,
Thank you.
all right.
Basically, he
learns
whips
them
them all
late
together and gets the reports and then I put it all together.
Speaking of those bills, have they gotten back to you about the banked kilowatt hours yet? And how
That,
that's gonna get
that
handled?
is waiting for me to fill out paperwork that I can't send in until April.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
So, yes, I'm all
You're
over
on
it,
it.
Dave.
So next April, we'll get paid for all of those banked hours?
I'm not gonna guarantee anything. Don't make me call you.
And for your penance, that'll be 3 Unitil calls.
Your call is very important to us. You were like
Guys are on with the
590th in
machine
line.
for
All
5.5
right.
years.
Is there anything further?
I have nothing.
Close it, close. I mean,
You said you had something to say?
No.
She just
no,
did.
no, this-
Oh, okay.
no. But happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
Yes.
Happy
yes.
Thanksgiving.
And I don't have to cook either, so I'm just going out.
I do have to cook. That's where I'm driving after this. I'm going to my sister's and then I'm cooking Thanksgiving.
Why? Where does she live?
Adams, Mass.
She wants to know if she might show up.
Well,
That's why I didn't.
all
give the
right, I
address.
would move that we close this meeting at 8:37.
8:37.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Love the Dave D y'alls.
You
It
got
makes it
that
really
shut?
easy.
Cause I do wanna say one
I
thing.
will, I gotta go shut up.
He's got it.
You got it? Shut that thing off.
I'm gonna shut that thing off. I'm working on it. I'm not as fast as I used to be.